But I probably won't have time to go through the entire thing. Um, but I'll go through it. Okay, so these are the common problem I received from the previous classes. So one thing is cleaning, data cleaning. So not many people have a data cleaning problem because it's quite straightforward. Um, but in some case that they don't have NA. It's not really a NA, but it's a weird character like a question mark or just say missing. And in this case, how do we clean it? So let's say we have such data sets. Okay, this data set is about education level. The age versus like the work class, and but then they have this question mark thingy. So work class can be a question mark. So how would you clean it? How would you replace the question mark? So you can decide not to include the question mark, or you can do something like replace. So if you know what's what's the target you want to replace, you can just do the column dot replace with whatever you want to replace. So if you click this, all the question marks become nothing. Let's do that. Thing is space question mark. Okay, now you replace all the question marks. Or the even better way is to replace with np.nan, which is like creating a NA value, and then just do a drop NA afterwards, and that's a very clean way to throw away all the stuff you don't want. And then another case is oops, sorry. Okay, last time a student like tried to try to do this. He saw there's a data called bachelors. I can't find it. Sorry. Okay, yeah, in the data is something called bachelors, but there's a space in front. Okay, and then how would you get rid of the white space? Yeah, you can do strip. In a Python, when you deal with a lot of text, you can do like that's the string, and you can do dot strip. Okay, and that remove the white space. Okay, and then okay, and then if you go to this data frame, there are data frame with only numbers, and there are data frame with a lot of objects. Let's say if I want to select all the columns with only the objects, how would you do it? Like for now, you would just do select it one by one, like work class, and then type in education and do it one by one. Okay, but actually there's a quicker way. You can select only the data type that is an object by doing this. Okay, do df and then select data types and includes only the object. Actually, if you do this, then everything you select will be object. And if you do like integer, then you only select the integer type. Okay, and I hope that will be handy for you guys. I can try even float. Okay, so only the index is in float. Okay, makes sense. So, okay. And then if you want to do like a global strip, remove white space for every single column, you can just look through all the columns and apply the strip on every single cell. Okay. Yep. Okay, and then the next thing is transforming the date. I think some of you guys has problem with it. Okay, because in pandas the date is very tricky. You have to do it in a certain format, and pandas can somehow figure out the pattern. But if your date format is not one of the preferred or understandable format, then pandas will struggle on understanding it. And well, if you can't do it automatically using pandas, then you will have a super big headache, because time or date is very problematic in Python. Okay, so let's say in this case we have date in so-called the date column, Amazon df.date. And by the way, this is Amazon datasets, which includes all the Amazon stores and the weekly sales, and you have like holiday, temperature. Like this is to see whether or not the holiday will affect the sales and whether or not the weather will affect the sales. Okay, but we have a date column right here. So first thing to do, make sure you remember this line, pd.toDateTime. This is very useful. So let's try. Okay, now it works. So it transformed the date quite perfectly. But then let's say I make a different data frame. Okay, let's say the format is right. It's like that. Okay, and if you do pd.toDateTime and then date df.year. Okay, probably it works. Okay, it doesn't work actually. It just transformed to a wrong number. Okay, if you do it month, okay, it doesn't work. So in this case, you have to like manipulate the data to make it understandable by pandas. So usually the safest way in any programming language is you do YYYY like the year in 4-digit, month in 2-digit, date in 2-digit, and that should be understandable by all programming language. So if whenever you have problem, format them in such way. So that's what I'm doing. I try to do like this. So if you run this line, oops. Okay, something went wrong. Did not contain a div. Okay, let me figure out why. So .year, and then you can do plus date df.month. Okay, because I think month is some problem with the month. Anyway, let's try to run if this works. Okay, it doesn't work. Okay, let me. Okay, now it works for some reason. Okay, so if you concatenate this, okay, now it becomes like that. Year, month, date. Okay, and if you do a toDateTime, okay, now it converts perfectly. So whenever you deal with datetime, just format it to that format. Okay. Okay. Do you guys get the idea? Do you want to try the exercise, or probably we don't have enough time, so you can do it at home. And then let's say you want to transform the column names. Okay, I saw a lot of you guys has changed names. Okay, the way okay, actually I transformed it already. Okay, let's say for this case, the header has gone. Okay, the header should be one line of the row, and but it wasn't read. Like it doesn't have a header, basically. So how do we change the name of the columns? I think a lot of you guys did it. So basically just use df.columns and then assign a list of new columns for that. Okay, and that's how you change it. And then filtering column by. Okay, we talked about this. So basically some columns are in integer, some columns are in object, and if you want to do a quick filtering, just do a select data types and include what kind of objects. Okay, and then okay, this is how to concatenate the columns. So I think I showed it just now. If you want to like combine work class with educations, you can do this. Work class plus df.ed. Okay. And if you have more columns to combine, you can just plus them together. Okay. And then, oh, this one is very important. I think none of you guys had done this. So okay, let's say okay, let's say if you deal with this kind of data, it's all non-numbers, they are all objects. Okay, then how can you plot it? You can't really plot it because they are not numbers. And if you do work class dot value counts, okay, also I don't see any one of you guys that did this. Value counts, it's very useful because it sort of gives you the overview of what's inside this column. So this is the possible value, and this is the count. Okay, it means the majority of the work class are working for like a private thing. Okay, but if you want to quantify these, how would you do it? Have you guys heard of something called dummy variables? You might have heard of it when you do like stats in uni. So basically, dummy variables are. Okay, let's say I stick with work class. Oops. We don't. Okay. Sorry, might have done something wrong. Work class. Okay, that's the thing. So remember the previous work class? We have okay, we have one column with all the different class. Okay, all the different possible selections, like private, without pay, or self-employed, etc. Now I expand this work class column to a lot of columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. Okay. And here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, basically instead of a column like this, I put it sideways. And whenever the row belongs to this class, it becomes 1. Otherwise, it becomes 0. Okay? And then now you're sort of giving a number to every single of these selections. And say if you do a correlation now, then you can clearly find out the correlation between like work class never worked at all, to say sex. Okay, now you can plot it out because you turn it into numbers. Okay, and this is probably the one of the most important technique in machine learning, because usually all of the data you collected are not numbers. They are like male, female, or like chocolate percentage is a number, but like countries. Let's say in the chocolate example, you have different countries, and if you put it this way, now Belgium become a column, and only the row with Belgium equals 1 matters. Okay. And how to do that? This dummy variables function is just pd.getDummies. Okay. And say okay, let's say I have a data frame like this. It's very simple. So I have one column called footballer, which means whether or not the person is a footballer, and the name is like my name and then Messi, Ronaldo. Okay, now if I do like a dummy, get dummy, and get all the variables, dummy variables for this data sets, it will convert it to this. Okay, it doesn't look human readable. Okay, it looks very complicated, but computer love it. Okay, if you put like usually when I do like get dummies, because there's so many classes, you can make a data frame with like 5,000 columns, but like not many rows. But then in machine learning, you have a technique to like compress the columns and get all the pattern out of it. So, well, if I'm working now, I would just do get dummies every time and let the computer to find out the pattern for me. Okay, so just exercise. And also, I don't see many of you guys do group by. Okay, and for let's say the horse racing example, you can do a group by. Like you group Sha-Tin, you group all the races by like the venue, Sha-Tin, and Happy Valley, and get the average. Or maybe you can do the group by on the Superman datasets. Just group by male and female, and see how.
I did a leaf cross that, but it did.
Yeah, it's similar. Maybe in that case, it's better to use your method. And let's say, okay, let's say I have a data set like this. I have a list of company, and I have a list of city, and this is the earning of the like annual earning. Okay, if you do a group by city, and then do a sum, you can quickly get the earning by city. Or you can do like a mean, and you can do the average earning by city. Or you can even do like group by two variables like city and company, and this gives you an even quicker overview of what's in the data set. And okay, normalize. Let's see if we have time for this. Okay, this is a different data sets which talks about the crime ratio for every city. Okay, it's a very long data sets, and I think that one thing you can find out from this data set is every column uses different unit. Okay, so robbery, it uses like the count of the robbery, but for rape it uses the rate. Like out of 100%, what's the rate for the raping crime? Okay, so they're all in different units. So okay, I think one thing you can do is normalize all the numbers. And to do a normalization, you just do like every data minus the means and divided by the maximum and minimum. And you will turn out to see something like this. Okay, it all turns to percentage, but now everything is in the same unit. And later on when you do machine learning, this will minimize the error because everything is in the same unit. Okay, that's before the normalization, and I think that's after the normalization. So you can clearly see the trend, while before you can't really see anything. But if you do the normalization, it becomes very obvious. And then, okay, that's something more complicated. Don't worry about this. That's too complicated. Okay, for next class. Okay, I attach 3 videos. Okay, make sure you watch all of them before the next class, because the next class will be talking about machine learning, and especially this one. Sorry, the second one. It's sorry. Even though if you don't have time to watch the rest of them, make sure you watch the middle one. And well, if you have time during the weekend and want to challenge yourself, you can do like a Titanic exercise. Okay. And actually, I attached one of my previous presentation. Maybe I'll do it next class. I think this is quite interesting because I did a football betting strategy using machine learning, and it's making I think 180% in 6 months. So I can show you how, like what have I done next time. So yeah, how do you guys feel about the pace of the class? Is it too fast or too? Is it okay? Okay. All right. Then see you next Tuesday.